What's going on? This is Yancey, author and producer of the This Is Why series. Make sure you go now and subscribe to my website, www.newfacemanagement.org. This is why you go to college.
This is why you go to college.
Hey yo, this is why you go to college. New Face Entertainment. Always paid my bills.
This is why you go to college.
New Face Entertainment. New Face. New Face.
This is why you go to college.
This is why you go to college.
This is why you go to college.
My name is Tiannah. I'm from New York.
Cool. All right. Where'd you go to school? What was your major?
I went to Hampton University. My major was broadcast journalism.
Okay. And where did you graduate?
I graduated 2007.
2007. Cool. All right. So we're here in Atlanta, right? So this is where you reside now. What do you do now in Atlanta?
Right now, I am a freelance photographer slash videographer. I like to call myself a cinematographer, but I started my own business. So a lot of my clients, they stem from producers and directors of music videos. So I do a lot of behind the scenes, also known as BTS work. But I also freelance with other special events and things like that.
All right, cool. So what made you decide to go to Hampton from New York? What was that all about? What's that story?
Okay, let me just think about this for a second. There was a couple of deciding factors why I chose Hampton University. One of them, I went on a black college tour with the Deltas. My church, I went to church in Queens. I lived in Hempstead, but I was back and forth between Queens and Hempstead. And my church, New Jerusalem, now a worship center, they had this huge black college tour up and down the East Coast. And Hampton was one of them. Fell in love with it. First time there, fell in love with the people, the culture, and I fell in love with the sorority. So that was one deciding factor. The other deciding factor was that a lot of my childhood friends in Queens had already decided to go to Hampton, and I was just like, all right, it's definitely one of my choices. I don't want to get away from home. I want to get as far away from my family as possible, and Hampton, Virginia was far enough.
Okay.
And it was between that and St. John's, and yeah.
St. John's was too close.
St. John's was, it's crazy. I had a scholarship to go to St. John's, but I chose Hampton over that. Now, in hindsight, the smartest decision probably would have been, no, I don't even want to say that. Scratch that. It's not the smartest decision. But I chose Hampton.
Okay. So out of all the HBCUs, that was the best one in your mind?
In my mind, yes.
Yes. Okay. So you get to Hampton, broadcast journalism. That was it 2003? 2003. You get there 2003. So what was it like for you as a freshman?
Freshman year, 2003. Freshman year was a cultural shock.
Yeah.
I've never been away from home that long and that far. I had no idea what being in the South would be like, because I come from a Caribbean background. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know anything about go-go. I didn't know anything about the culture in the West, the Midwest. So it was a cultural shock, and it was interesting but intimidating at first. So it took me about a month or two to kind of assimilate properly, or not properly, but to get used to the culture. But after that, I got the hang of it, loved it. Yeah, I'm still friends with people that I literally dormed with my freshman year, 2003.
Okay.
Flash forward 11 years, still very close friends.
Cool. All right. So your freshman year is a very unique year for Hampton, because it was Hurricane Isabel. Well, did you go home for Hurricane Isabel?
I sure did.
You did. Okay, so you had a different experience from others.
Yes. I don't do hurricanes.
Yeah. So you just decided to go home, and then you came back when it was over.
Exactly.
Okay.
As soon as they said they were closing the bridge, closing the tunnels, I said no. I'm hopping on that Chinatown bus. I'm going home.
Right.
And actually, it was a group of us. It was a group of my close friends. At Hampton and Norfolk, and we just hopped on that bus. My mom picked us all up in the city, took us back.
Right.
A lot of my friends stayed though, and I heard what happened afterwards. And I came back and I was like, what the heck? We had holes in bushes. I think that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we all stayed, and that ended up birthing the 12 to 2. So like, it was a lot going on down there, like with no electricity for 2 weeks. Like,
crazy.
We dealt with a lot, but it was a good time. You know, we made it work.
Right.
New Face came in and threw a party every day. So that's basically what.
That.
Yeah, but it's all right though. You was back home. But all right. So now you're at Hampton. What was your experiences with New Face Entertainment with Yancey, and how did that go?
Wow. Well, again, with the cultural shock, I always loved music. I always loved to dance. That was always my thing from when I was a young kid. So I was looking for that outlet, kind of, in this new environment, and I also enjoyed learning other people's cultures and how they danced and their music. And so, like Yancey, New Face Entertainment, that was the place to be. That was the person to know. So I remember Holland Hall, the Legion, all those places, like Sweatbox. Someone mentioned before. Literally, it was a Sweatbox. Well, you came in your kicks. Sometimes you didn't come in your flyest gear to the Holland. You did, but not really. You were just ready to party, get down, show off your skills. It was a very interesting time.
Cool. All right, so let's talk about the 12 to 2 for you.
Yes.
From 2003, 2007. What was the 12 to 2 for you in the Student Center?
First thing that comes to mind when I think about 12 to 2 at Hampton is a fashion show, a huge fashion show. Everybody came representing their area, wherever they came from. Formed little groups, like healthy competitions, dance, again, music, awesome DJs. That was a place to be. Sometimes you I didn't cut class. I don't ever cut class, but that was a place to be.
Cool. All right, so I remember a lot of you being like in different fashion shows, and that was your thing at Hampton. Yes. So let's talk about that. What made you get into that, and what was that experience like?
What made me get into fashion shows, believe it or not, for some of you who know me or knew me, I was very, very shy. Like I wanted to be in that circle, but I was very, very, very shy, and I felt like, well, I need to break out of this, especially since my major is broadcast journalism in front of the camera. Later on, I learned that I like to be behind the camera. But anyway, I chose to try out for these fashion shows to sort of break myself out of this shell that I was in. I was a type of freshman, or I was a type of young woman to kind of like stand back and observe, and I enjoyed being the little wallflower and watching everybody, but I really wanted to break out of it, do something different, and challenge myself. So that's primarily why I wanted to join the fashion shows.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
just
what?
having to be good at it.
Yeah. So what? The difference between the PWIs and HBCUs, and if you can tell the difference to steer people in the right direction, whatever direction may be.
Right.
What?
Well, when I went to Hofstra, I was in a different state of mind. I was a lot older. I had a clear set goal of what I wanted to do. Hampton kind of set that up for me. It was the foundation for what I would be doing flash forward, 5, 6, 7 years. So I went to Hampton for broadcast journalism to be in front of the camera. And that was all great, but it's not really where my passion was at the time. I didn't really understand exactly what I wanted to do, and that's another thing I want to touch on. It's okay not to know exactly what you want to do. Nobody really knows. You have to, it's just a matter of that you're putting this positive energy to doing something positive in your life, and then you have to trust God, you have to trust the universe to lead the way. So after that, then I decided, you know what? I do like television, I do like news, but I want to go deeper. So then I ended up going to school for documentary film, which is what you guys are doing. So that's awesome. I'm really stoked about this. But instead, if I hadn't gone to Hampton, I wouldn't have gotten this far. So, opportunities, man, take it. Right. Because you only have one life, and sometimes you don't get second chances, As far as the differences, they're big differences. As far as the makeup, the racial makeup, location, Hofstra for me was in New York. Now I'm back home. I'm back in my city. I'm back in my area. Whereas Hampton, I was challenged more because I'm in a different area. I didn't know anything, again, about the different cultures around the country. And I'm still closer to the friends that I made at Hampton than I did at Hofstra.
Right.
But maybe, again, my focus was different, you know? So, I don't know.
Cool.
Good experiences, both of them were.
And I did want to just ask one more question because of your background. And when it comes to this documentary, like what do you see about the documentary that will be important, or anything that any advice that you would give for the documentary? Because my background is not film directing, I'm business management. So just based off of what you see and what what I presented to you, what do you see about the documentary or the future it may hold?
I feel like because you have business management, you have a fresh pair of eyes. So that's what makes this documentary so unique and definitely worth it and definitely valuable. You have a unique set of eyes. I mean, you spearheaded this project. You spearheaded this whole organization from back then. So, and you have this idea. You're on the right track. But if you say the question again one more time.
No, I'm saying from that background, from the background of film directing, what do you see anything that you would advise on, or anything you see just steer me in the right direction for it? Yeah.
Different angles, maybe different angles. Have 2 cameras set up. This angle is great, but maybe do like an angle from the side. It makes it more interesting because people look at the same thing and it just. Not saying they will,
right?
But that's just what what I've come to find out. Just do different, maybe 2 cameras. If you're ever back here and you need an extra hand, let me know. Anything, call me up. Y'all got my number, my email. Just let me know.
Okay.
I'll definitely. I mean, I don't know everything, but yeah, you're on the right track. You have the light set up. Lighting is good. You have the contracts. I'm like, ooh, okay. And then you have the background, you have the trailer. You're good. You got the mic. You don't really need. I mean, I went to school because I went to Hofstra because I'm the type of person that I need to be in a setting, an organized setting, to really get the most information possible. I have ADD. I'm like all over the place, so I need to be around like-minded people and have somebody help me get hands-on experience. But they didn't teach me how to be creative. They didn't teach me the ideas that I had in my head. I'll give you another story. This is funny. I'm like one of the only black kids in this, adults in this program. And my main focus with documentary film is with music. That's just what I like. That's where I'm being pulled towards. They didn't like anything that I proposed. Anything. They didn't understand it. I mean, these are older white teachers, professors, and then I had, white classmates, colleagues, and they thought it was cool, but they just did not get it. They shot me down so many times, but I pushed through, and I said, this is what I'm going to do, and you're going to like it, and they did. But it just goes to show you that it's all up here first, it's already inside of you, so just have the confidence and just go. You already got it.
Yeah.
God put that idea in your head for a reason. So just follow it. I mean, it's good to have the techniques and things like that. And that's why I went. And also I wanted to use like really good equipment.
Okay.
And I wanted to learn how to edit quicker. I mean, that's why I went. I could have went to Brooklyn College though. Would have saved me a lot of money.
Yeah, Hofstra's a little pricey.
Sheesh. But I chose it also because it's in my backyard. Like I did a lot of classes when I was younger there, like science. I was a little nerd back in the day. So yeah.
Alright. Word. Let's see. Was there anything else you want to look at since you looked at these questions? What else you got here?
Did my homework.
We talked about your role within New Face.
Yeah, that was I do want to say something.
Okay.
So the skills that I learned from being a model / street team member is that it helped me with my shyness, yes, but it also helped me how to network. I never told you this, but working with you kind of helped me when I went back to New York after I graduated, and I stayed in Hampton for a little bit, maybe like a year or 2 after, and then I went back home.
Right.
It helped me use the same skills to work in the nightclub scene in New York City. So I was at like Griffin, I was like Greenhouse when it was open, Whip. I'm talking about all the hottest clubs in New York City. What I learned with you and how to network and how to get people to come and, you know, do whatever I did helped me land this gig with some of the hottest promoters in New York City.
Yeah.
And I did that for 2 years making money while I was going to school at Hofstra. Used those same skills, came here to Atlanta, and it's still helping me make connections. It's still helping me, you know, try to be under the wings of like the directors or the producers and things like that of music videos. And I mean, that's where it started. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
That's it.
You sure that's it? We good?
So yeah.
Make sure we ain't miss anything, because I don't know when I'm coming back to Atlanta.
Oh
Make sure.
Lord.
No, she did good.
It's good, right? As far as like networking and developing friendships, like what did that type of environment do for you?
Anybody that, I mean, with your college experience, anybody that you meet and you interact with, literally sets your friendships up for the future. Like I'm still cool with people that I walked with, I knew, I became friends with. To this day, I am closer to people that I've met at Hampton than the people that I went to school with in high school and the years before that. That's what it's just a reinforcement of friendships, really.
Right. All right, and then you were also one of the models for New Face and like the calendar and all that. So let's talk about that experience. We do have some footage of that. So just a little bit of it, nothing crazy, but you know.
No, I would love to see that. That's crazy.
I can see if I can pull it up, but that's why we're gonna get Jack involved, because you know I wasn't there for that aspect of New Face. Like it was like Crystal and Jack's project. So you know what was that like from what you remember?
I think my brain is a little foggy, but I think I remember I was a model / part of the street team. Right. Yeah. So I remember this was also helping me break out of the shyness that I have. Talking to new people, getting out there, trying to get them to come to the parties, to the events. I remember passing out flyers. I remember one time I came to DC. I traveled to DC with Yancey's cousin from the Bronx to help promote this party. I can't remember which club it was. Yeah. I did that. I did body painting. Yeah. Like the body paint, I think, was for homecoming. Yeah, homecoming. That was pretty cool. The best damn party ever, I think it was. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah. That was really, really fun. I just had a lot of fun. And again, it just helped me break out of being so shy. Yeah. Cool. And put my fears aside and just go out there, be myself, and meet new people. Cool. All right. So, would you give that same advice to a high school student that you may be mentoring, like to try new things? Like, what would you tell a high school student that's thinking about going to college and needs that type of advice? As far as high school students going to college, I think you should follow your heart first and foremost. Follow your heart and leave that fear behind. This is the time to try things out. Don't go too far, don't try other, Anyway, this is the time to try new things out. This is the time to make mistakes. This is the time to explore and just go for it. Follow your gut and you'll surprise yourself. You'll never know what you run into. You never know what you'll discover about yourself. Yeah, I wouldn't pass that opportunity up at all, because once you become older, I mean, you can go to college any age, really. But coming straight out of high school is different, because you're in this sort of transition from being a child transitioning into an adult. Right. Like this was a time that I became a woman, so to speak. Like I was 17 going into college, graduated 21. Like birthday is late, but. All right. So if you come across like a college student that's thinking about dropping out of college, they may be upset or just feel like college is not for them, what would you want to tell that person? Trust me, everybody goes through that. I've gone through that. There was a time where I was depressed in college. Nobody knew, but we all go through transition. Change is not easy for anyone, but you just have to keep going and you have to talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about it, especially with people that you trust and the people that you call your friends. It's okay to talk about things. It's okay to feel that way. Just go through the motions and just know that nothing lasts. You know, like, even when you're down or upset or feeling depressed, that feeling will go away eventually. Just don't sit there. You know, be proactive. Be proactive in your education, be proactive in your social life, be proactive. Just go ahead and just do it. Keep yourself busy, especially when you're down, especially when you feel like giving up. Keep active, just keep going. Ask for help. A lot of us don't like to ask for help because we're afraid of how we'll probably be looked at. You know, it's a stigma to be depressed and talk about it. No, talk about it. This is the time to talk about it. You never know who else is sharing that same, you know, sentiment, that same issue. There was just one thing that I remembered going to Hampton. They touched on it a little bit. It's kind of like, here, fill this out. Are you depressed? And then, oh, you're depressed? Come to this class, we'll talk about it. And then that was it. You never heard from them again. My thing is, I feel like the professionals that are working there, they need to follow up with these students. That wasn't done when I was going there. And also have classes like, Nick said something about mental health classes. And in addition to that, maybe a class to help prepare students for real life. Like we have University 101. You know, as a freshman, you come in and it's like an introduction, like a general introduction for what to expect in college. But what about Life 101? What to expect in real life? I mean, there's no telling what you're going to go through in life, but...
Yeah, well, you know, the student organization I started, ODU, Success Without Limitations.
Yes.
Moving on, I submitted the application for it to be Success Without Limitations at Hampton.
Yes.
And one of the main things that we're talking about is the platform for suicide and depression, and then also preparing students for things outside the classroom, like life, like financial management, like underage drinking, like not telling a student you can't drink, but listen, we know you're going to drink. This is what you need to do. Like, don't, you know, travel in groups, like the type of things that you learn in the dorms, because that's what they teach you in the dorms. You know what I'm saying? But I think as a whole, as a campus, there needs to be an organization that people can talk to, because you're going to be a sophomore eventually. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be a junior. Like, you're not thinking, you're just thinking that the RA is supposed to tell you that, you know. But if you have an organization that's there constantly letting you know about certain things, I think it will be better. So that's what the organization will be for. All right, so we touched on a couple things, but what else would you like to see differently or more at HBCUs, and if you want to say specifically Hampton? Besides
just the whole mental health thing and preparing, like what you're doing right now. I didn't realize until now that's what was going on. So that's awesome. But that's something that I would have liked to see back then. Okay. But yeah, the experience that I wouldn't. If you have the opportunity to go to school, this is for like high school students. I say go. I mean, no, college is not for everyone, but at least try it out. If that's where your heart is tugging you, try it out. The resources there are unlimited. You can't, I know you can get experiences in, you know, real life, and you can go to trade school, you can do all of that great stuff. But the experiences that you get, especially in a black college, is just different. You see a network of people that want to do big things like you. You know, it's different. After Hampton, I went to Hofstra, and that was predominantly white. Different experience, you know, but for different reasons. But if you have the opportunity, you should just go. And, you know, I didn't join a Greek because Delta got suspended, and then I just kind of threw it out the window, but whatever. After that, but just, that's all I want to say. I did want to ask you about that as well, because I wanted to see if you can tell us